I'm just in the paddock. The campers are all beginning to wake up, but I thought I'd take advantage of this beautiful morning light and show you the Flivver Collection. We'll start here with a 1983 Honda 4Trax ATV. With a fantastic front winch. Next is my Can-Am. I bought this used when I was 16 years old. It's a Qualifier 175. It's a 1977 model. Third in the row is my brother's 68 BSA 250. Last but definitely not least, it's incredible 1953 NSU 250 Max. NSU is a German brand, very rare in these parts, fairly common in Europe, I understand. Bikes are running. They're on display here at the Canadian Vintage Motorcycle Group Rally this year. So I'm here with Travis with his beautiful Indian. We'll get some info on it in a second. Travis, tell us a little bit about this bike.
So I picked up the bike in the States at a swap meet. It's 2013 I picked it up. It was a basket case with just pieces, and then with the help of a few friends and met some new friends, I put it together from pretty much scratch. It's not all original, mostly, but it's hard to find original pieces sometimes, so you just have to make do with what you got.
What year is it?
It's a 41. Originally a military bike.
Oh, military bike.
Yeah.
I love this color.
So I didn't true the flywheels or lace the wheel. I laced the wheels, but I didn't true the wheels up. They're the two things I didn't do, but assembly and everything I did. Actually, the engine wasn't actually in a bike. I bought it off a gentleman by the name of Jim. He actually picked it up somewhere, but the engine was on a farm running a water pump, so it was never in a bike.
No kidding.
During the war, they had these engines, crate engines. It was a stationary engine.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Travis?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Is this your collection?
Yeah. Well, it's family collection.
Family collection. This is what, Excelsior?
1925 Henderson,
Henderson.
made by Excelsior and Schwinn.
Oh, okay. I love the 4-cylinder inline.
Yeah, they sound nice.
What year is it?
1925. It's 99 years old.
Nice.
One beside it's 100.
Nice. Sunbeam. Yeah.
No, it's always been that thick. I never changed it. Not that big, but.
Yeah, I've got a 26 Model T, so same vintage as these.
Yeah. Well, I got a 14 Douglas at home.
99 for single.
Needs magneto work. And I just moved and I gotta find it again. Always happens. It's in a bin marked.
It's in a box somewhere. Yeah.
In the bin marked garage.
You know you have it,
Oh yeah.
but finding it, that's the trick.
And I got a magneto guy that's looking forward since I've failed so far.
Nice.
To repair it, needs a condenser.
Man, that is a sweet machine.
And this is the last year of
So it's
this
same
model,
price
and then they went to the
guitar?
KJ. And he died in 26.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it was sold to Indian. Started the Indian Ace and then the Indian 4, and then they changed the engine design too.
I was looking at it, and like most of the time we always found them on sale for $15.99.
I'm not correct. Might not be correct on that
And now I
date,
think the
but
cheapest
it's
I've
close.
seen is-
Close.
Yeah, that's a
In
decade
the right
or two
order,
here and
right?
there, right?
Yeah.
And that's if you're looking at the end of the season.
Thank you.
No problem.
So I'm here with Steve, and we're looking at his incredible Morgan.
Steve, tell me about this car, or bike, or what is it? What's it considered on this side of the pond?
And on this side of the pond, I've seen them licensed as motorcycles and cars. This one's licensed as a car. And the biggest question the ministry wanted to know was how many doors does it have for the registration?
Yeah, none.
And they can't get their head around none.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but Morgans were making three-wheelers since 1909, and the main reason for it is you had a little bit more luggage space and passenger space and whatnot.
Yeah.
But in the UK, when Morgan started making these, they were licensed and taxed as motorcycles.
Okay.
So they had the advantage of very cheap ownership and very cheap licensing and taxing.
Yeah.
So they're very, very popular back in their day in the UK.
So you could treat it like drive it like a car, but license it like a motorcycle.
Exactly, yeah. And back then, these cars sold for somewhere around the range in the 1930s of 85 to 95 pounds sort of thing.
Okay.
And the tax was probably about 1/2 of the taxing rate that you could get an Austin 7, which was just marginally larger than this and had a fourth wheel.
Right, right. And what year's this one?
This one's a 1937. This one I've owned for a long, long time, probably about 45 years. And this one was one of those vehicles that I restored myself,
Okay.
but it took me 30 years to restore it.
Yeah. Labor of love.
Yeah. So it's one of those deals where mortgages and marriage and children sort of intervened. So the project got shelved for, quite a number of years. And then I'd go back to it and do a certain, parts of the car.
Yep.
And then back to life. And I got the car finished in 2012, 2013. So the car's been sort of active and whatnot since then.
Amazing.
It was interesting because I had a Morgan three-wheeler years ago, back in the 80s, and was one of those scenarios where I had it at a display, and a gentleman came up and asked if it was for sale, and I said, not really. And he says, well, if it were for sale, how much would you want for it? So I put an exorbitantly high price on it, and he took it.
Oh no.
And I always sort of regretted a little bit selling the car because I never really got a chance to enjoy it that much. So decades later, this one came along, so I thought, well, I'll pick up on it again, the opportunity's here.
Yep.
And this time I won't be so quick to get rid of it and just make $1.
Yep. Yep. That's fabulous. So what's the performance like on a vehicle like this?
Performance like this, I think Morgan in the 1930s had about 4 or 5 different engine options on their cars. You could get a Jap engine, which this is. You could get a matchless engine, and then you could get either engines in water-cooled or air-cooled versions. And then the Jap water-cooled engine was, I think, one of the most expensive versions. And yeah, so when I bought this car, actually, it didn't have this particular engine on it. It had an engine that was incorrect for the vehicle. It had a side valve engine.
Oh, really?
And this model of three-wheeler is called the Super Sport. So there was the Super Sport, there was the Sport, which usually had a slightly detuned engine, and they even had a family that had 4 seats in the three-wheelers back in the 30s.
4 seats?
They did have a three-wheeler 4-seater back then.
That would have a smaller rear seat than a Porsche.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, that's definitely children and small dogs territory. This one seemed to be one of the more popular of the Morgans, the Super Sport, because it wasn't bred for racing by any stretch, but it was the more sporty and it was the higher horsepower version.
Right.
This one puts out somewhere around 40 horsepower.
40?
Yeah, give or take. Which for a vehicle that weighs under 1,000 pounds,
That's
is
good performance. Yeah.
Not bad at all for a 1930s car.
I'll say. Fantastic. Now, do you show it a lot?
I enjoy showing the car a lot. Yes, it only gets out 2 or 3 times a year. But the reaction, especially in an event like this, of the people to be able to see this thing, it's not bragging rights really. It's just, yeah, people enjoy seeing it and looking at it and talking about it. So, yeah, it's for the enjoyment of other people to see the car more than me having bragging rights by far.
Yeah. Amazing.
But no, these cars in the day would, average speed, you can still do 50 miles an hour as a cruising speed. And these will top out at about 75, maybe on a downhill with a backwind 80 miles an hour, which in a 3-wheel vehicle can be very, very exciting.
That's great.
Because you're not far from the ground.
Now, what's it sound like? Is it?
It sounds like a big V-twin thumper.
Like
Absolutely. It's a little different than you would have like a Harley sound to it, but very similar.
Okay.
It's quite a different car to drive as well.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of controls on the steering wheel.
I see that.
So you have, you do not have a throttle pedal on the floor of the car that you use with your right foot. Your right foot has 2 There's one job on the floor of the car, and that's the rear brake only.
Okay.
The left foot is the clutch, which is on the floor as a pedal. Here on the steering wheel, you've got with the large lever is the throttle.
Okay.
So you're opening and closing the throttle, changing gears, all with your right thumb.
Right.
The other two are ignition and choke, which once the car's started, you don't really use that much. And then you've got 3-speed and reverse gearbox with a lever in the center. And the hand lever next to it is the front brakes only. So in order to use all 3 brakes, you've got one hand and one foot. And then you have to change gears and double clutch at the same time as well to go around a corner. So it makes it really interesting.
So do you, in the older cars, you had a hand throttle on the steering column and you had timing that you had to adjust while you're driving. Is this similar, or is the timing just for just when you're starting it?
This one, I found that timing is just for starting it.
Okay.
You set it on retard, get the car running. Once the car's running, you can pretty much advance the thing right up and just leave it there.
Okay. Now, is this hand start or electric start?
No, this one's electric start. Morgan always had, from I think about 1932 onwards, they had electric start. There is provisions for a hand starter, but for these engines, they don't really recommend it.
Break your arm?
Well, actually, you can break some of the engine as well as your arm.
Oh dear. Oh, that's
Because
worse.
with the Jap engines, the crank start goes in the front of the engine, but it drives one of the camshafts.
Oh wow.
And the camshaft, through a gear, turns the crankshaft, which gets your engine started. This one's a little higher compression than when it left the factory.
Right.
So they've been known to, if it ever does kick back on you, as well as breaking your wrist, it can strip all the gears off the camshaft.
Oh dear. Yeah.
So, which you don't want happening.
Electric start is a
So
better choice.
you're much better off maintaining and rebuilding the electric start than try to crank start it. Plus the crank start's so close to the ground, they can't get down there that far easily.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it is very low ground clearance. I was noticing that you got to be really careful about obstacles, and I guess driving a 3-wheeler, you got to also keep track of the center line of the car because your rear tire's about to go over that.
Yeah, there's no such thing as dodging a pothole, really. It's very, very difficult because once you get comfortable driving the car, then you're driving it with the mindset that you're in a 4-wheel car once you get comfortable. And yeah, straddling manhole covers, straddling potholes doesn't always work out for you in a good way.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Steve.
You're more than welcome, Steve.
Well, that's a wrap from the motorcycle show here in Paris. Hope you enjoyed the footage. I've got a little bonus for those of you who are still sticking around here at the end of the video. I'm gonna show you the camera rig I used for this weekend. It's a little different. So stand by while I switch cameras and I'll show you what I mean. There, that's better. This is a GoPro fitted with a handle and a screen and a microphone with a dead cat. The biggest, heaviest GoPro ever made. Cool, huh? So it allows me to film motorcycles quite easily. See what I'm doing on the big screen. So this is Stephen from Flivver Channel signing off. Thanks for watching.